Welcome. Today we will delve into the architectural evolution of a vision tool, specifically focusing on the development journey of the QN 3.5 screen describer. Throughout this presentation, we will examine how the project transitioned through three distinct programming environments: Python, Rust, and Zig. We will discuss the motivations behind these shifts, the technical hurdles overcome, and the performance enhancements achieved as the architecture matured. Let us begin by exploring how these language choices influence the design and efficiency of our screen description system. The core concept of the screen describer is built upon a streamlined three-step workflow. It begins with Step 1, Capture. This stage is automatically triggered the moment a screenshot is saved to the user's desktop directory. Moving to Step 2, Process, the captured image is analyzed locally. We utilize the QN 3.5-0.8b vision model, powered by the llama.cpp engine, to process the visual data entirely on device. Finally, in Step 3, Output, the system delivers the results. The user receives a professionally styled markdown semantic description of their screen content, appearing directly within their terminal for immediate reference. The Learning Progression Framework offers a structured path for moving from an initial concept to deep systems mastery. It begins with the Validate phase, where we leverage Python's high abstraction and rapid iteration capabilities. The objective at this stage is simple: prove the model's utility and viability as quickly as possible. From there, we move to harden the project using Rust. This transition introduces strong safety guarantees and robust foreign function interface integration. The focus shifts toward building a production-ready version that is both performant and reliable. The final stage is to minimize using Zig. By stripping away abstractions and utilizing direct CAPI calls, we reduce the software's footprint to its bare essentials. This phase is critical for achieving maximum efficiency and gaining a comprehensive understanding of the underlying engine. Ultimately, each rewrite within this framework serves to remove a layer of indirection. This progression forces you to confront and understand exactly what the previous, more abstract layer was hiding, resulting in a more optimized and thoroughly mastered system. Phase 1, which we call the sketch, focuses on rapid prototyping using Python to validate our core concept. The methodology is deliberately simple. The Python script spawns the Llama server as a discrete child process. Communication is handled by polling HTTP on localhost and transmitting base64 encoded images via post requests. The strategic purpose here is validation. We need to determine if a 0.8 billion parameter model can accurately describe screenshots before we commit to writing any low-level code. By starting with Python, we avoid all foreign function interface concerns initially. This ensures that if the model fails to meet our requirements, we have only lost an afternoon of work rather than an entire week. Phase 1 was characterized by several significant technical hurdles that created substantial friction for developers. One of the most immediate issues was the 60-second cold start, where model loading would block the main thread in a polling loop before inference could even begin. We also dealt with payload bloat. Specifically, base64 image encoding inflated our payloads by approximately 33%, wasting compute cycles unnecessarily. From a setup perspective, external dependencies required users to manage a separate Llama server binary installation manually. This was compounded by heavy tooling requirements, necessitating libraries such as Request, Serde, and base64 just to communicate with localhost. We also faced frequent port conflicts because the system was hard-coded to port 8001, which often collided with other local developer tools. Finally, the architecture suffered from lifecycle chaos, demanding manual intervention for process cleanup, health checks, and log management upon exit. These combined factors made the initial implementation far more cumbersome than it needed to be. Phase 2 represents the transition to our production-ready Rust implementation. As illustrated in the comparison between the before and after states, we have moved away from an architecture dependent on an external server. Instead, we have adopted an in-process FFI model that directly integrates our Rust code with the underlying C++ code from llama.cpp. This shift involves several critical optimizations. We have entirely replaced the HTTP server overhead by utilizing the Llama CPP2 crate, and we ensure tight integration by statically linking llama.cpp using the MTMD feature flag. For data handling, we have eliminated the need for base64 re-encoding. Image pixels are now passed directly into memory as raw RGB arrays, significantly reducing latency. Furthermore, the token generation loop is now fully optimized, utilizing Llama Sampler entirely in process. This streamlined architecture minimizes communication overhead and provides a high-performance foundation for our production environment.
When evaluating our shift to Rust for this implementation, we have identified several significant architectural wins alongside a new set of constraints. On the positive side, we now achieve a single self-contained binary deployment, which greatly simplifies our delivery pipeline. Inference begins immediately upon load with zero cold start delay, and we leverage automatic Metal GPU acceleration on macOS through the Llama CPP Sys2 crate. Furthermore, we have completely eliminated the overhead of HTTP networking and complex JSON parsing logic. Conversely, these benefits come with specific trade-offs. Our compile times have increased to approximately 80 seconds, largely due to the necessity of building C++ dependencies from source via build.rs. Static linking has introduced about 40 megabytes of binary size bloat. Finally, our current architecture relies on an experimental MTMD API wrapper, which introduces a risk of upstream breaking changes in future updates.
Moving into Phase 3, we transition to a direct port using the Zig programming language. Our primary approach focuses on utilizing direct C API calls through @cimport, intentionally bypassing safety wrappers to achieve maximum performance and direct control. A key component of this architecture is how we handle linking. The application dynamically links against the system-installed libllama via Homebrew on macOS, which eliminates the need to vendor or manage complex C++ source code within our own repository. For image processing, we have moved away from external crates entirely. Instead, we delegate image loading tasks to the native mtmd helper.bitmap-init from file function. Finally, to streamline our networking and avoid the overhead of compiling a full HTTP library, we shell out to a curl child process for the one-time model download. This lean approach ensures a faster, more maintainable build process.
In this Zig trade-off diagnostic, we evaluate the impact of choosing dynamic linking over vendoring dependencies. By opting for this approach, we see significant performance gains, such as a compile time of approximately 1 second and a highly optimized binary size of around 200 kilobytes. However, these advantages introduce critical technical risks. First, there is a heavy reliance on the system ABI, where upgrading external libraries like llama.cpp via Homebrew can lead to silent runtime breakages. Second, we face a loss of memory safety. C pointer misuse, such as incorrectly treating a C-style pointer as an optional, results in runtime crashes rather than compile time errors. Lastly, the implementation relies on implicit dependencies, requiring specific system curl and Homebrew installations to function. Understanding these trade-offs is essential for maintaining a stable production environment.
This synthesis of the architectural matrix compares Python, Rust, and Zig across several critical development metrics. Starting with integration, Python typically utilizes an HTTP server, whereas Rust employs safe FFI wrappers, and Zig offers direct C integration via its @cimport feature. In terms of linking and deployment, Rust builds from source for static linking, resulting in a larger 40 megabyte binary, while Zig links dynamically to system libraries to maintain a minimal 200 kilobyte footprint. The performance trade-offs are most evident in compile times. Python requires 0 compilation, while Zig is highly efficient at roughly 1 second. Conversely, Rust safety checks extend its compile time to about 80 seconds. For image handling, Python relies on base64 JSON encoding, whereas Rust involves manual resizing and RGB manipulation, and Zig delegates these tasks to the C API. Finally, looking at safety models, Python relies on runtime checks, Rust utilizes compile time RAII, and Zig demands manual pointer management. This matrix underscores that each language presents a unique balance of speed, size, and safety. This deep dive explores the fundamental differences in memory and resource management between the Rust and Zig paradigms. Rust's approach centers on ownership and resource acquisition is initialization, or RAII, relying on strict compile time lifetime checking to ensure safety. In this model, wrapper objects automatically trigger the cleanup of C resources the moment they are dropped from scope, effectively automating deterministic resource reclamation. In contrast, the Zig paradigm frequently utilizes an arena allocator. This involves a single overarching arena layered on a page allocator, designed so that all Zig side allocations can be freed in one massive operation at process exit. While this simplifies internal memory management, external C-side resources, such as models, context, and samplers, still require careful manual handling. Developers must use explicit defer calls to specific _free functions to ensure these resources are properly released before the process terminates. In today's session, we are examining Applied Mechanics Taming the Qwen 3.5 LLM, specifically focusing on how to control and optimize its output through precise prompt engineering. Looking at the anatomy of a prompt, we see the structural requirements involving system, user, and assistant roles, demarcated by specific markers such as IAM_start and IAM_end. First, let's address mandatory formatting. To avoid hallucinations, it is critical that raw prompts are not used in isolation. Instead, all input must be strictly wrapped within user markers to ensure the model correctly parses the conversational intent. Next, we encounter the thinking problem. By default, Qwen 3.5 is designed to forcibly emit reasoning tokens within think blocks. Simply instructing the model not to think via system prompt commands, such as appending /nothink, is often ineffective at halting this internal process. To solve this, we implement the injection solution. By pre-filling the assistant's turn with an empty think block, specifically think/think/think, we can effectively trick the model into believing it has already completed its reasoning phase, thereby skipping it entirely. This approach is further reinforced by a residual stripping post-processor to ensure a clean final output for the end user. Moving into the technical gotchas and implementation realities, let's start with the index quirk. When calling the eval chunks function with logic's last set to true, it is critical to remember that the very first sample must use logic's index -1, representing the last token from the batch, rather than index 0. This is a subtle but vital distinction for successful initial sampling. Next, we must address degenerate looping. Smaller models have a tendency to loop relentlessly if left unchecked, making a repetition penalty sampler absolutely mandatory. For example, to stabilize Qwen 3.5, we found that a 512 token window with a rigid 1.5 penalty was necessary to maintain output quality. Finally, there are UI streaming hacks. Raw streaming often results in messy markdown structural markers appearing in the terminal. To solve this, we suggest a strategy where you silently buffer tokens while printing progress dots to str. Once the process is complete, you can then dump the fully styled ANSI-rendered markdown to standout for a clean, professional final presentation. In conclusion, we can see the immense value in strategically stripping away abstractions, depending on the specific goals of a project. At the top of our hierarchy, Python optimizes for rapid idea validation, serving as the perfect environment for proving value before investing in more complex codebases. As requirements shift toward production-grade robustness, Rust provides the necessary optimization for system reliability and guaranteed stability. At the most fundamental level, Zig allows for maximum developer velocity and a minimal footprint, offering absolute control over the hardware itself. By removing these intermediary layers, you gain the clearest possible understanding of an API's expectations, as there is ultimately nothing left standing between your code and the system it interacts with.